All right, let's get right into it. Imagine this. A figure known only as Der Grün Gold Narr, the green gold jester, is standing right at the edge of the world. On one side, you've got the deep, wild forest. On the other, the cities of men. He's just finished this intense, transformative journey, waking up after 1,000 years. And now, he's about to drop a final, world-breaking declaration. This is the Sermon of the Seven Shards.
And he doesn't waste any time. This right here, this is the jaw-dropping conclusion to his entire sermon, and he says it right at the very beginning. He's basically announcing that everything, suffering, order, the whole structure of reality, is done. It's been tossed out and replaced by this chaotic, all-out game he calls the Saga of Frenzy.
So, that's the big question, right? What in the world is the Saga of Frenzy? And who is this jester to declare it? To get to the bottom of that, we have to rewind and look at the beginning of his sermon. Because before he builds his new world, he first has to tear the old one down, piece by painful piece. It's a process you could call ontological deconstruction.
Now, ontological deconstruction sounds super academic, I know, but think of it like this. It's taking apart a clock, not to smash it, but to see exactly how every single gear works, and to show you that it was never really telling the right time anyway. The first part of his sermon is a full-on assault on what he calls the beautiful cages of civilization, all the things we think keep us safe and sound.
And he's got three very specific targets in his sights, the architects of these cages. First, the merchant, the one who tells us what has value. Then, the judge, who tells us what is right and wrong. And finally, the warrior, who tells us what it means to be strong. The jester's first job is to show everyone that all three are just illusions.
He kicks things off with the merchant and his followers, a group he sneeringly calls the herd. And what's so brilliant here is his definition. For the jester, the herd isn't just some mindless crowd. No, it's a mindset. It's that gnawing feeling that you need the next new thing, that what you own is who you are. He'd say we're all part of the herd when we mistake ownership for having a soul.
And this quote just lays out his counter-philosophy perfectly. Real wealth, it's not in your wallet. It's in those moments of pure, uncontrollable laughter. It's the joy of doing something for no reason other than the thrill of it. It's totally free, can't be bottled or sold, and it's gone in an instant. He calls this active laughter, and to him, it's the only currency that actually means anything. Okay, next target, the judge. The jester looks at our legal systems and doesn't see justice. He sees this, an inferno of nihilism. It's just a machine of rules with no heart, no spirit. It's a fire that burns everything it touches, not for warmth or light, but just for the sake of burning. It's the terrifying result of having rules without any real meaning behind them.
I mean, wow, this is such a violent, absolute rejection of social order. In one of his parables, he takes a high judge and basically transforms him into this skeletal figure called the Red Judge, a walking symbol of this empty, fiery law. So when he burns the courthouses, it's not just random destruction. He's making a statement. Your concept of justice is a ghost. It isn't real.
So finally, he comes for the warrior. And to do that, he unleashes his trump card, his most powerful idea, the verdant absurdity. This is his vision of nature. It's not some peaceful, beautiful garden. Oh no. It's a chaotic, wildly indifferent force. It doesn't care about your honor, your destiny, or your strength. It just grows and decays and swallows everything in its path.
And this is the key to everything. In his story, the jester faces this ultimate warrior, a man of frozen will. But how does he win? Not with a better sword. He wins by refusing to fight. See, a warrior needs an enemy. It's how he defines himself. But the jester just embodies the verdant absurdity. He becomes like weeds growing through cracks in a fortress. He doesn't attack. He just undoes the warrior, letting the river of chaos wash him away.
Okay, so he's deconstructed the entire outside world. The sermon now takes a sharp turn inward. The next set of parables are all about his terrifying journey into the darkness of his own mind to forge a completely new self from the ruins. This inner battle plays out in 3 stages. First, he has to completely sever ties with his past, with fate itself. Second, he has to stare into the abyss of his own ego and face total nothingness. And finally, if he survives that, he has to somehow stitch the 2 warring halves of his soul together.
Let's start with this incredible concept he calls the Willinar, or the jester's will. Most of us, right, we're defined by our past. We're prisoners of our history. But the Willinar, it's a will so powerful that it doesn't just accept the past, it consumes it. It literally turns every memory, every tragedy, every bit of destiny into fuel to power its journey forward.
And with this one line, he declares total independence. He's saying, I am not the result of a story. I am the cause of my own. Think about how radical that is. It's both a terrifying and an absolutely liberating idea.
But the ultimate test is yet to come. It happens in a place of total, absolute darkness, a cave called the Maw of the Absolute. Here, he faces the real existential nightmare. When there's no one to see you, no world to reflect your image back at you. Do you even exist? Who are you when you have no audience?
And this is his answer. In that crushing emptiness, he doesn't fade away. He has a profound realization. He is enough. He can be his own audience. He can be his own actor. He becomes what philosophers call the absolute ish, a self that creates its own existence, needing zero validation from the outside world. So, let's look at the two forces that have been ripping him apart this whole time. On one side, you have the gold curse. That's ambition, order, seriousness, what he calls the spirit of gravity. On the other side is the verdant absurdity, pure chaos, entropy, nature, and laughter. His final inner challenge is to stop the war between these two halves inside him. And in his final inner parable, he does it. He achieves this synthesis. But he doesn't pick a side. He doesn't let order win over chaos or chaos over order. He merges them. He becomes a divisible unity, a complete self-sustaining universe that holds both forces in perfect dynamic tension. He's no longer just a piece of the world. He is a world.
And that brings us to the grand finale. He's torn down the old world. He's forged a new self. Now, the jester is finally ready to reveal the entire point of his journey. He's about to unveil his new grand philosophy for all of existence.
The seventh and final parable. This is the one that gives a name to the brand new era he's about to kickstart, the game of the laughing storm.
So what is this game? Well, he calls it active play. And his logic is kind of flawless in a terrifying way. If the world is fundamentally chaotic and meaningless, then taking its rules, its laws, its crowns, its power structures seriously is the most insane thing you can do. The only truly rational response is to treat it all like a game. Life becomes a giant chessboard, and the meaning isn't in the rules. It's in the joy and creativity of how you play.
And with that, the sermon is over. His whole journey in the wilderness, all that deconstruction, was just the prologue. Now, as this new, fully realized being, he's ready to step back into the world. Not to follow its rules, but to play with its rules. The real story, the saga of Frenzy, is only just getting started.
He turns his back on the quiet wilderness and starts walking toward the courts of kings. This force of nature, this will and air, is coming to wake everybody up. And the final, chilling question his sermon leaves us with is this. Is the arrival of a being who sees all of reality as his personal playground the ultimate nightmare, or is it the most terrifying kind of freedom imaginable?